everyone, I'm Jack, full-time UI UX designer, illustrator, animator, donut connoisseur. Please let me know how my audio is today. We've got a new mic here, so let me know if it's better, worse, too loud, too quiet. I probably will need to make some adjustments as we go along to the stream. It's kind of a test run here to see how this goes, because I will be on Adobe Live. If not, sort of up in the air, maybe next week, maybe the week after. I'm actually going to be a guest for the first time in 4 years, I think. It'll be 4 years in like October or November, so I'll be on as a guest. We'll be doing Adobe Express. So what questions do you have about Adobe Express I've got in the streamer announcement. So if you want to ask me any questions that you have that you might want to go over during that stream, you can let me know. And Peter's asking if I have had helium. No, why? Do I sound a lot more high-pitched? Well, maybe this is just my normal voice, so welcome, Peter. Peter wants their money back because I started a few minutes late while I was getting started here. But Odari is here as well. And let me scroll up and see who else we've got. We've also got Patty. Patty is saying audio's fine. Unfortunately, I'm low battery, so I'll need to return in a while. Oh no, Patty. Well, I appreciate you coming in here to hang out. You can always watch the replays on my Behance if you want to get caught up, but I know it's nice to hang out in the live chat. And Jeff Yaz is here. Jeff is saying, nice, I was your guest. Yeah, I've hosted a lot of people, but this will be the first time in a long time since I've been a guest on Adobe Live, so. And I'm trying to prep super speedy, just in case I have to, it'll either be this Wednesday, or it'll be the 9th, which I believe is the week after. So it'll either be this Wednesday or the Wednesday after. I'll keep you posted. I should know by Monday what day I'm going to be doing. And Axel's here. Axel, I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. Odari, Bliss and Odari and Corey are all moderators, so be nice to them. Let me scroll up. Bliss, how have you been? Just saying hi. Welcome in, everybody. Alright, I'm going to switch screens over to what we're working on today. Bliss is good, sleepy, and hot, but good. Alright, well that's good. Yeah, it's like, it's been super hot here, but also like raining a lot, but only in like small periods. So we've been getting a lot of humidity as a result, which is just amplifying the heat instead of cooling it down. I'm hoping it cools down soon, but you never know. Also, before we get started, I'm not sure, More or Less Crafty on Instagram, if you're watching, More or Less Crafty has been working on, Susan here. Susan, I don't know if maybe I've been missing, I don't know your Behance username in the chat, but Suzanne, aka More or Less Crafty here, has been working on the plants that we did in the little like greenhouse stream, and these are turning out really lovely. I just wanted to share them with my Instagram stories, and I just thought they were really cool to see somebody working on. I loved, I'm already forgetting the names of all these plants. This one in particular here turned out really nice. It almost has like a watercolor feel to it. So yeah, really cool designs. Be sure to go check out and follow More or Less Crafty here on Instagram. There you go. Just wanted to show that off. Bliss is saying, you have polish on. I'm not used to seeing nail polish. Bliss, yes, I do have nail polish on. I'm surprised it's not getting keyed out because it's pretty teal, but it's been a journey to get to this point. I am a perpetual anxiety nail biter, and it took about a year's worth of, a little over a year? I've actually forgotten when I stopped, and so I've been working on growing them out, and like, that requires the nail beds to kind of reattach after literally a lifetime of chewing them down, so sort of an achievement. But thank you for noticing. And Bliss is saying we've been getting rainstorms as well, which only makes it feel like a steam room. Yeah, it's like a sauna, for sure. Okay, so we've got to finish out our ducks here. This one, I want to add a little bit more in terms of details here. I might change the shading color around now that I see it again. But I also need to get the other duck finished, so I might actually take a break from this guy. And I'm actually going to copy and paste and bring it over here. Object transform and reflect. And I might kind of like Frankenstein this together a little bit to get our second duck. So, let's see how it goes. I'm gonna lock these layers. I have the ducks on a separate layer to make it easier for what I'm doing, essentially. And for this, I'm actually gonna bring the edge up to the very edge of where I want the water line, and then I'll figure out a different way to crop it off. That way I kind of have flexibility there. And I do, for the most part, like the shape of this one, so I'm probably gonna follow it pretty closely. Although I want the head to be maybe a little bit rounder. I'm just gonna bring this to a point for the time being, because we're gonna put our beak over top. Shraffle's here. Welcome, Shraffle. Pull this up. Go. I'm gonna hide this briefly. We're gonna go to this, make a copy, lock it, hide it. On top. Oh, that didn't copy the whole thing. Helena, welcome to the stream. How's it going, everybody? Yeah, Jeff Yaz, I did host Jeff. Gosh, feels like so long ago now, but you should go check out that stream. It was a good time. Jeff's stream is actually an inspiration for one of the 3D challenges that we did, Illustrator challenges, later on. That kind of method of working. I believe I included a link to that stream in the resources for that challenge, so. And then we need to copy, we need to have the same kind of a beak style here. I might actually just repurpose it. This duck is a little bit smaller the other one, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. And a little bit wider. Kind of line it up over there. Pull it up over here. Just making some minor adjustments. Do you have snapping on? So I can get these points where I want them. There we go. Let's do this manually. How's everybody's weekend going so far? Like I said, I've been super busy trying to prep for this maybe stream next week, so that's what I've been doing, spending my time doing. I'm gonna pull this up a little bit. Maybe make the neck a little bit longer now. Feels a little bit too short. Shraffle's asking to see the full illustration. Give me a second, I will zoom out for you. Just kind of want to get this beak in good shape. There we go. So, this is just a floating duck for reference. Let's group these two elements here. So you can see we're working on the duck that's going to be partially underwater. So this duck's kind of paddling along here. And this one over here is diving underwater. If you've ever seen ducks do this, it's pretty fun. So yeah, Shuffle, this is based on Shuffle saying so playful. I've got a link in the description to the prompt. I started with just, I thought it would be fun. To use this website or this Instagram account that I follow, I've never actually done one of these, but I've been following them for a while. It's called What the Prompt. And they just have, every single day, they just come up with an idea, and you can use it for, you know, anything you want, really. It can be an illustration, it could be, maybe, you could probably interpret this as like a brand, a concept for anything. They're just ideas for you to kind of get started, and I kind of like it they're every day, and they're always kind of like unique. So the prompt was an upside down umbrella filled with water and 2 rubber ducks swimming in it. I decided to go with real ducks and some additional friends, so that's where we're at. Nick saying, hey folks, happy Saturday. Oh, and Miss Peter saying, good, weather's finally dry and cool here in Chicago. Well, I hope it's headed my way. Usually we're like not quite 24 hours behind Chicago, so we'll see. Those pineapple slices. No, these are lily pads. I'm going with a very limited color palette, so they're kind of like this neon green to separate them out from the umbrella. So they're a little bit, maybe I like to say magical realism, although they're more magical than realism. That's, you know, kind of my whole jam, so that's where we are. I looked at this actually before we got started, and I wondered if it might be fun to add some flowers, but I'm not ready to commit to that because I don't, you know, I keep trying to add more things. I was like, oh, I should add a paper boat, or I should add a inner tube, or I should add all this stuff, and, you know, here we are. I don't want to add more stuff right now to our list. I'm going to finish out what we have, and then what I think I'm going to do after we finish this duck, so I'm actually going to go through, I talked a little bit about this, about adding that kind of like surface texture to the water. If you've ever kind of looked at still water, it usually has this kind of like ripple pattern to the surface of it that I think would be really nice to add to this. You'll still kind of be able to see through, but the surface kind of has a little bit more waves to it. And Peter's asking, don't water lilies have blooms? Sometimes, yes. That's why I was debating whether or not I would add flowers to it. I just don't want to like commit to that until we get a little bit more of the illustration done. So, and Melissa's here. Melissa is also a streamer here on Behance. We got a couple of streamers in the chat. We've got Melissa, we've got Bliss, and we've got Adari. So be sure to go check out all of their work here on Behance when you get the chance. Bliss is saying, yeah, that's what I was thinking, Peter. Maybe a bloom. We could totally do that. As soon as I get through the rest of my little ducks here. So, a flower in the frog goes hair bow. We could give the frog a little hair bow if we wanted to. All right, let's see. I'm probably going to. I'm really good at stealing shapes from other things, because why not? And I kind of made this in 2 separate pieces, so I'm gonna borrow the tail feathers from my duck here. This will also keep them consistent stylistically. Bliss is saying, or what's the little green plants in the water? Not algae, but duck, I think it's called. Yeah, duckweed. I thought about that as well. That might be a nice, like, little bit of cover to add. It'll add, like, a nice overall green to it. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see where we get to. Because I don't want to, like, spend too much time. Unless you guys are enjoying it. I know lately we've been doing a lot of like really long streams. And by long, I mean ones that go into really multi-part streams. And I worry that you guys are gonna get like bored of that if we do too many like really long streams. So this is saying the 3D shape and perspective of the duck is spot on. Thanks. Yeah, I'm giving myself a little bit more. You can see here if we get rid of all of that and go back down to the sketch. These are the sketches I did, just quickly roughing them in with basic, just the pen tool. Not even really drawing them with just pen tool and mouse. I like to sketch when I'm doing projects like this that are just kind of like personal projects and they're not too like serious or structured. I'll do sketches like this. You guys have seen me do this before, like just really simple lines to get the feel. And then I like to go in with like more elaborate shapes. So it's just kind of like my process for doing this, And I'm trying to keep an eye and make sure that making sure I'm keeping a consistent style across. So, ooh, Peter's saying fish. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to our list. So I like to make lists of things. Especially when the chat is throwing out suggestions. So we're gonna add flowers. I think they're like lotus flowers to the lily pads. And then we're gonna do, we've got fish, duckweed. Let's scroll up. More bog, water plants. Bog, water plants. I know this is huge, the text size, but okay, there we go. And then the other thing I want to add is like the water surface texture. Let's scale this down a bit. So, and I like to just generically go through here. We've got our ducks. We could add more. We've got our lily pad. We could add more. We've got our frogs. Kind of a running list here of all the things that we have and left to do. Alright, let's take a look at the chat. Bliss is saying, I'm never bored. Shucks, you could still work on the Haunted Cellar one and I'd still be all into it. Oh gosh, Bliss, I need to get those I'm so behind on getting projects up to Behance. I've been actually trying to get projects over from my Behance, over to my website, and then I've got to go back and get projects uploaded onto Behance. It's been an ordeal. I have to like figure out how to like do a little bit of things, when I have the time and when I can. So I know that I need to get that Haunted Cellar back up there, but I haven't had the time. I actually think I have a draft project. I just have to kind of finish it. Bliss is saying, I just like watching you work and work through your creative process. Oh, thanks. I always, if you guys have any questions about what I'm doing or how I'm doing things as I'm doing it, please go ahead and ask. I like to share the knowledge. I'm totally fine taking detours to explain things. So if you have any questions, go ahead and or if I do something really fast, you're like, whoa, how did you do that? I need a more thorough breakdown. I'm happy to stop and kind of go back through. Everybody's being so nice in the chat. Melissa and Bliss, thank you so much for the compliments. Really appreciate that. Melissa's saying, in the same boat, Jack, need a personal assistant. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to like get everything done that you want to do, for sure. And now for the wings on this duck in particular, they're gonna have to be a little bit like higher up. Sort of like tucked under. I might actually extend them out a bit from the body. And then for the feet, we'll start with the feet first, because I think I'm just going to keep them the same. I did make them kind of like out of lines, so it's pretty easy for me to move them around. You know what? Oh, you know, I didn't actually. Okay, we'll go with this. I don't think I actually made the second shape here, so we're just going to quickly go copy, paste in back. I'm going to isolate this path, and then I'm going to get rid of this point at the top here. And now we kind of have that little leg in place. And let's scale this down. I don't know if I have scale strokes and effects turned on. I don't. So I'm going to go in here and make sure this is turned on so that that stroke scales down with the leg. And I actually might... Let's take a look at our sketch. These legs are above water, and so I might actually make them a little bit more exaggerated. Just for fun. Just for fun. I know it's getting a little bit hard for you to tell what's going on. If I kind of unhide, you can see. This is the, remember this break here is the water line. So these feet are gonna be above the water line. Oh, I made this one really kickin'. You can add some splashes too. That could be fun. I'm gonna put this behind. Let's scale the slide down a little bit. Let's really bring this one up high. Actually, I don't really like that. I'm gonna get down a little bit. Maybe a little bit closer to the original leg. Oh yeah, Melissa's complimenting Odari's stream this morning. I love that you're back to working on your, like, that personal project with your characters. It's gonna be nice to see it all kind of come together. Melissa's saying, I wonder if they'll ever add animation ability to Illustrator. Could be a revival of Flash Macromedia. Oh, Bliss has had it out. Okay, Storm is in full effect with lightning and winds. I'm hopping off. Hopefully we'll be able to come back. Yeah, Bliss, you're probably getting the storms that we had last night, because you're also like 24 hours away from me. So it goes from Chicago to me to Bliss. So I hope you stay safe, Bliss, and I hope your power stays on, especially with this heat. But thanks for hanging out for a bit. And yeah, Melissa, that's a great idea. I know it's been asked a couple of times, like, would it ever be possible to do animation like directly inside of Illustrator? There are kind of options, but it all kind of requires an external program on some level. I actually had somebody in the Illustrator Discord asking about this the other day, and you can export your art as SVGs and do animation that way. You have to know a little bit of code in order to do that, especially if you're gonna do it by, like, write it by hand, like in a text editor. You can certainly export it out, yeah, like Melissa's saying, Adobe Animate. You can export it out and animate it in Adobe Animate or in After Effects. You can also export out, and this was the other kind of suggestion that was made, you could do like set up your Illustrator file so that each artboard is a frame, export those images out, and then open the image sequence in something like Photoshop and make a GIF. It's all a matter of, like, there are different ways to animate, it's just a matter of, like, what your personal preference is. And unfortunately there's nothing that, like, you can do directly in Illustrator currently to do so. But, you have options. Frame by frame, that's a good idea. I feel like there might have been a stream on that in the past. I might change the eye on this duck, but I did want to get it kind of close to the other one. Okay, I almost want this one because it's kind of like kicking to be maybe like a half, like a squinty eye. Let's see. Something like that. Like it's having a good time. And then I'm gonna add the same shadow down here to separate out the beak. I could add more shading to this. Like I said, I'm just trying to get like the general style of everything down. And then I'll go back and finish. And for this one, I just put a semi-transparent shape over. I'll probably have to do a little bit more separation between them. And also I might need to add some shading to the belly of the duck as well. Affleck vibes. I actually wonder, now you've got me curious to what the original... I know that they had like a commercial with... Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. They did kind of have like a character in their logo at some point. That's kind of cool. It does have kind of the same eye, huh? Alright, let's move on to our wing. Just gonna use my reference shape here to get started. I don't think I'm gonna be able to use the exact same wing though. Well, we'll see, actually. It's gonna be a little bit, like I said, more narrow. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna use the free transform. I'm gonna pull this in a little bit and widen this out. There we go. And the wing should start up here. And I'm gonna have that little shape. We just draw this from scratch again. That goes inside. How did I do that? I had a little bit of an edge, so we'll go here and then bring it. These are gonna be a little bit narrower this time. Let's take a look and see. I might need to make it a little longer. Yeah, I'll make this a little bit longer. There you go. And for now, I'm gonna add that same full green shape behind, although I do think that I want to change the color to maybe that purple, and then add a little bit more greens to the duck. But this is fine for now. There we go. Let's do this. Merge these. Release this compound path, delete the extras. There we go. And then we'll work on the water edge. And a speaking duck. Yeah. I feel like that was like a video or something though. I don't know. Was this 3D? I guess it could have been 3D. A 3D duck. Potentially. Alright, we're gonna grab the water line here first. I'm gonna do a similar type of a thing. I'm just gonna cut this. Grab this line style. I just applied a stroke with profile, this tapered one. Copy and paste. Blue. Oh, I put it behind, it looks like. The blue was behind. Alright. And then I think I just brought it down a little bit, yeah. A little bit more. Zoom in. Just a little bit. Okay. I do want this leg to be crazier still. This one down. I'm gonna do this. Now, you know what? I need to bring that in too. Let's do this. And then let's do that. And we'll do I need this to be beneath. And this to be okay. And then make a copy. And merge all of this. There we go. I might actually add another. We could do an opacity mask as well. Let's go back. It's like a little bit here. Copy this. This is in front, and we'll merge these. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna actually do that. I'm gonna copy and paste this. I'm gonna bring this. Let me think. Yeah, okay. Copy and paste this. I'm gonna grab this line here. I'm gonna take this whole section. I'm gonna group all of this. Oh, you know what? That's gonna be a problem. Oh no, it won't. I'll group that. And we'll make an opacity mask. Inside of this mask, we're gonna make this white, because white reveals. Let's see, did I get rid of my wing though? So I need to go back out here. And then I'll select my wing. Copy. Go into my mask, paste in front, and we'll make sure this is all. Although I need to separate this out too. Alright, let's merge these together. here. An ugly compound path there, faced in front. Oh, not quite. Ah, so annoying. So annoying. I could have done this in a lot cleaner of a way. I just thought I could do this the lazy way. Alright, fine. We'll go back out. We'll go back out. I'm gonna grab this line. Make sure I've got the full path. Go into my mask. Paste it in front. And we will... Nope. Close that off. Alright, success. Oh, wrong thing. Oh my gosh. Okay. You forgot how to use transparency mask. It's you know, it's a handy thing to have when you need to do something that's a little bit more complex. I don't always use it, but let's go back out. I think this is a little bit too dark. There we go. And then I might actually do the same thing here. Do I win something? Peter says. Oh, Gilbert Gottfried was the voice actor, yes. You know, I actually think I'm gonna leave that for now. There will be... That's fine. I do think this is a little bit... I was a little overzealous here. I'm gonna go back into my transparency. Merge these back together. Go back out. Go back in. I don't want this to be as high up. A little bit shorter. That's all. There we go. And the same with this. Isolate this path. I want this to be a little shorter. This is a little bit hard for me to see, so I'm going to bring this down. There we go. Okay, looks a bit better. Peter's apparently winning all of the digital currency today. Digital bucks within digital ducks. Okay, looks pretty good. Pretty good for now. The next thing I'm gonna do, well, first of all, I'm gonna bring this sketch of my duck down to my... We'll rename these. This is going to be our working layer. This is our background, or the umbrella layer. We're going to call this just foreground. For simplicity's sake, I think it's all the... Oh no, my lily pads aren't on that layer, so we're going to pull that up as well. Okay, there we do a save while we're at it. Oh my goodness, it's already like 45 minutes have already passed. My goodness. Alright, I'm gonna group my duck together as well. Group. So if we wanted to, we could go through here and name these as well if we're gonna like animate them. Frog, duck, duck. Lily pads. Okay, I am now going to attempt to do a pattern on the surface of this water, and I have a couple of ideas about how I might go about doing this. So it's going to be a little bit of like experimentation time. So I'm going to start a new layer, and I'm actually going to do this from like a top-down view, and then we're going to try to like get it in perspective. So have you ever seen like the surface of water before? It has kind of like a bubbly texture to it, but it's also kind of like fragmented, the way that the highlights kind of form on the surface. Highlights and I guess shadows, because you see them as like the highlights on the surface, but they're also like reflected towards the bottom of the water. And my kind of initial thought about this is to try and use, let me look for it, one of the effects. I don't remember if it's going to be crystallize or something else. I feel like there's two effects that kind of do this a similar type of a thing. I also don't really remember how this works. Let's try this. You know, I think we need like a gradient if I remember. Let's try that. There we go. So we can start with a crystallize pattern. Let's just try this 180 for now and see what we get. Alright, so now that kind of gives us like that surface. And we can go to Object, Expand Appearance. It's going to give us an image because this is a raster effect. But then we can go up to Image Trace here. So I've got an image trace version of this. I'm going to expand my image trace. I'm going to get shapes. So we can take that, go over here. Oh, you know what? I want to create those outside shapes as well. So I'm going to go here. I think I can just use a divide. Gonna give me extra shapes behind them. Although it might have given me weird edges. Let me double check. It's like only in a few places. Join. I probably could have done this a bit differently, but, you know, experiments. Okay, so we've got a nice sort of thing here. I'm going to apply my color, and I'm going to actually switch it. Oh, looks like I missed. How did this get missed? I was having a time. Let's ungroup. To duplicate. Alright, let's not do that. Hang on. Let's do this. Undo, undo. Only gonna paste those in front. Let's push this. I'm not sure what's happening here. Oh, you know what? I didn't close those. Join. Join. something happened here too. Oh, you know what? I didn't separate. Okay, that's okay. We can fix that. Ungroup. I'm gonna isolate this path. Just draw a line between them. Divide. Ungroup. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here with this big chunk. Just clean this up a bit, and I'm not really happy with the way that these pieces look. Split it. Ungroup. And we'll split this one up too. And then I don't like the way this looks. We're getting there. Go. Back out. Alright, now I do have an idea for how I might go about doing this. Give me a sec. So, let's take all of this. And I think I need to use, let's make a copy. Object, path, outline, stroke. Let's see if this works first. Yeah, this might be a little bit. Let's try simplifying it. There we go. That's kind of what I wanted. Oh, no, not that much. Let's go to object path. Simplify. And let's pull it down not so much. Like that. See if I can get into these corners and round some of these corners out. To get that kind of look that we're going for. I could have drawn this all by hand, of course, if that's what you wanted to do. However, I kind of enjoy taking these like shortcuts here to get an end result that for my workflow is a little bit faster, and then I can also like duplicate this and we'll be able to kind of like manipulate it around to create like those two layers essentially, like a highlight level and a shadow level. I actually, this technique actually comes from like another project I'd done actually quite a number of years ago. I needed to create a like desert surface with like lots of cracks, and it also needed to be in perspective, and I didn't really feel like doing all that by hand, so that's where this came from. And this will give us a nice base for what, you know, we want to be careful when we're adding plants and stuff over top. If we have this texture, give us an idea of like how we sort of want to do that. So, and you're not going to see these corners here. I'm going to like, you'll see. We're not going to see the corners. Because it's going to be kind of like, hopefully, fit over the surface and masked. Ideally. So. We could have also used that technique that I demonstrated on one of the challenges where we took it into Photoshop to make those filled kind of like overprint corners. And I actually was opening my notes up for that, and I changed my mind and decided I wanted to do it this way, so. But you could do that way as well. If you so desire. However, it fits, whatever fits in your workflow. That's the most important part. Alright, I don't want to spend too long belaboring the point here. I think you get the idea. Looks pretty good. Right. Alright, and then we can copy this. So this is going to be like, let's make this our highlight layer. I'll drag this off so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. Make this white. I'm going to paste another layer behind. We'll rotate it, and then we'll make that dark. So now we've got kind of like those dual levels I was talking about. Hide that, bring this back up. No, I don't want to paste it there. I want to paste it on my background layer. No, I pasted it twice. Okay. So there we go. And let's see how we want to do this. We could try first using our pre-transform. And I would actually pull this down, probably widen it out. So you can see we're kind of matching the perspective a little bit. Probably make this a bit smaller. Let's copy this, paste it in front, make a mask. Ooh, that did not, oh, I copied the wrong, oh no, I didn't, okay. We just need to put this behind wherever our water ended up. There we go. Something like that. And we can adjust the scale a little bit. Bottom left. Shelf says interesting. It's more fun too. He just says, yeah, I like doing things. You know, these streams, story time, mini story. I don't know about you guys, but I always recommend that I recommend live streaming to everybody. And I think that it's a really good way to try things. You know, as creatives, we're always trying to, like, I know everybody's trying to, like, hustle, right? Like, make money, find projects that are gonna make money. We're working on freelance, we're working on full-time work. Whatever we're doing, we're always, like, catering towards, like, the next job, right? But I think it's a really important thing to work on personal projects just kind of for yourself. because it gives you the freedom to kind of explore these like weird different ways of doing things you may not do in like your regular work, or work that has like, I would never do this if I hadn't, you think it's time to make a story time transition? Alright. I think as Sean calls this big head mode. It's Sean's birthday coming up, so happy early birthday to Sean, another streamer. But yeah, I think it's really important to make time for personal projects, even just to explore these different workflows. That's the way that you get more... That's the way that you can get more efficient with the tools, is to kind of say, like, I wonder what would happen if I do something like this, right? And the more that you do that, the more you're gonna kind of, like... Or I'll even sometimes set up to do a live stream where I say, like, I really want to experiment with this tool. I'll see somebody use it, and I'll be like, wow, that could be really cool to kind of explore. And I'll try doing it on a stream. I'll, like, come up with an idea where I can make heavy use of that tool or something like that. So, if you know... So I always recommend live streaming for that reason. Number one, first and foremost, to kind of back up a bit, it's a really great way to, and I've heard this not only, it's not only something I believe, but I've heard this from other people who live stream, that it really helps you talk about your process, because you're kind of having to talk about what you're doing as you're working. So it's a great way to kind of, like, if you're not very good at, like, interviewing, you're struggling in that regard when it comes to, like, getting work or something like that, live streaming can really help you gain confidence talking to people about your process, and just, I guess, interacting with, people on the fly in general, like having to think on your feet while you're working. It's a really great way for that. The second reason is, like I said, for experimentation, personal projects. You can get really burnt out, and I know this firsthand from if you are working non-stop on projects just for you're working on no personal projects, like you're only working on commercial work or client work, you can really, really burn yourself out really quickly that way. So the only way to kind of balance that is to work on personal projects that don't have any kind of like restrictions on them. You're not worried about, like, even when it comes down to portfolio work, I'm saying, like, throw all that out the window. Don't worry about, like, making something that's super gonna be portfolio worthy. Don't worry about client work. Just make things that you, like, personally enjoy, and without any kind of restrictions on whether or not they're going to be good, bad, or otherwise. They're just, they're just for fun, just for exploration, just for learning. So, Peter's saying, or take a vacation. Well, that's important too. It's really, I know that people think, I know there's a perception out there that I work 24/7. I've heard it. I'm not being arrogant or egotistical, but I promise you that it's not true. I do, get regular sleep. I do go outside and see the world. It's important, and the way that you have to think about it is, am I going to actually be productive if I sit here and struggle with something that I've been struggling with, for however long you've been struggling with it. You've been working on something for an hour and it's not really getting anywhere. My advice is to switch to something else, or take a very quick, even if it's like stepping away from your computer for like 15 minutes, if that's all you can afford. But if you can afford it in terms of like the time in your day, to like go outside and like go for a walk, like step away from, it'll put you in a different like headspace than working. And some of my biggest breakthroughs, creative breakthroughs, have come from those moments of being away from my desk and away from the problem, because it puts you in a different headspace when you're not like sitting in front of it. I'll be like out, thinking about something else, and all of a sudden the way that my brain works, I'll like circle back to that problem somehow, and like subconsciously, and like have the solution that I'm looking for. So my advice is always, you can take a break, and you should take breaks. You should not work 24/7, and you should make time for hobbies, things that you enjoy doing. It's really important. So that's why I joined a gym this month. Yeah, I think that's a great outlet. Whatever way you can, like, I think, the physical movement, things like that, no matter what, like, you're capable of doing, moving in some way, because it's a completely different mindset. It's a reset. You're solving different problems. You're solving physical problems, which are different than what we're doing on a regular basis, in Illustrator. It's a really great way. Physical hobbies, things like, Some people like to, even if it's as like different, you know, like sewing or like, you know, something that's sort of like a different headspace, is really important to kind of like reset. So Peter saying thanks again. Jack Watson, love your streams. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Thanks, Peter. I'm glad you could stop by for a bit. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Let me switch back now to what we're doing here. Get back to the work. Little, yeah, pause the grind. We took a pause there. Pause the grind, remember why you started. Yeah, super important. You know, all these things are important. You will be amazed that if you take 5 minutes, you will actually be more productive than if you try to like persevere through it. The same goes with like working on personal projects helps me separate from what I do. I'm a full-time UI UX designer. I'm not drawing ducks in umbrellas. I mean, maybe sometimes I'm doing illustration work, but it's not like, you know, they're different problems and they require, it's a different mindset. It's a different mindset altogether, so. Anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So. I hope you enjoyed it. There we go. Pull that in a little bit. You make it reduce. I would probably reduce the opacity of this. Even like might use a radial gradient on the edge. We'll see. But I'll bring this down because it's a little bit too intense. We don't want it to be dominating the illustration. Actually, let's do that. I'm gonna use a radial gradient on this with an opacity mask. So we're getting a little bit complex. So in this group, I'm gonna hit make mask. I'm gonna paste my circle in front. Bring my opacity up. You can see I made a black to white gradient, and we're gonna change that to a radial gradient. So now the outside edge of this radial gradient, you can see a little preview here is black, and the inside is white. You get a little preview inside of this opacity mask, and then I'm gonna find the gradient tool so I can just kind of match the gradient to my shape a little bit better. It doesn't need to be super perfect. What I'm trying to do here is reduce the opacity on the edges. And another hot tip here is to use RGB black for this. Rich black. So we're just kind of fading off the edges. It might look a little bit weird, but once you see it with, oh, you know what, I put it on the whole group. Okay, let's not do that. Let's release that. I'm gonna copy this out, and I only want to put it on this group. Make mask. In front. You can see that with the edge there. It also lets my sort of edge highlight and shadow come through a little bit stronger. I might actually make that a little bit less. Okay. That looks good. It just adds a little bit of surface texture. Oh no, Nick is getting kicked out of Behance after an hour every time. Sorry to hear that, Nick. Alright, let's see. What else are we doing? What else did we say we wanted to do? We need to add some more shading to the umbrella. I want to add like some shapes here to make this look puffier. But I know we have more elements that we need to add from our list. I'm going to bring this down. I'm not accidentally turning it on. Got our water surface texture. Oh my gosh. Come on. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time here. There we go. Whoop. Duckweed, fish, and lotus flowers. Or let's look up lily pad flowers. I want to make sure that lily pad flowers are the same thing. It looks like they are. Looks like they're like pad. Oh, things to know. Thank you, Google, for your knowledge. Picking lily pad flowers is illegal. I don't know why. Weird. Let's take a look at these here. Think about how I want to build these out. They're not really at the they're not necessarily at the center of a lily pad. They're kind of like, they kind of like grow around them. Yeah, it looks like they're not like actually centered on the lily pad itself. They just kind of like grow in the same space. Okay. So, I know that when we did the lily pad, we did it from a top-down view, but for these in particular, I'm actually going to create these in perspective. So, I'm going to start with, well, let's kind of generically match this. There we go. And I'm just going to use this line so I can understand what the like base structure of the flower is. And we're going to start from the center out. Let's make this sort of like that. Actually, I don't know. I'm actually just going to pull these in maybe a little bit. Okay, so there's kind of like the center of my flower. And then, well, actually, we would probably do like the front. Oh, front. How do I want to do this? How open do I want these to be, essentially? Do I want to show like the middle? Let's try this. We've got the back. We'll do the front here. A little bit larger. A little bit wider. And a little bit shorter. Actually, we'll make this a little bit taller. And then we'll copy this. Move it out a little bit. This. Oops. let's just do... what colors do we have available to us? Probably gonna have to be purple. Okay. So I'm just kind of building out the structure. And then this part, we'll do... I'm not actually following, so for those of you that have never maybe seen this process before, I'm not actually following like a particular like image reference. I'm just kind of generically looking at the overall shapes and trying to come up with a solution based on that. Okay, that looks pretty good. There's going to be a piece in the front that I need to deal with, but I'm going to copy and paste and reflect. And that should give me a pretty good starting point. Most of these are going to go behind. These are going to go in front of. Just taking a look. That's correct. These need to come in front. Oh, not all of them. Gosh, selecting things. Okay. This is saying, very cool result. Looks like a lotus flower left after helix. I'm just using simple shapes here. I'm just starting with the same shape and I'm just modifying it. I'm not doing any. There's no magic tricks involved to this. The bottom flower here should get a little bit squished. It's a little bit too wide. Let's make that. There we go. That looks pretty good. And we'll see how it looks at this point. And on top of our, or mixed in, I guess, with our. It looks okay. It's missing, there's like some leaves that kind of curl under it that I think will help with the shape a little bit more. So, let's add those. Let's grab this. We'll flip it around. And kind of shorten it a bit. Let's just do this. I'll actually leave that open. Cut this. Join. We'll make this be our green. And this is actually going to have curled over leaf. We'll reflect it and make a copy. Eventually we'll just align it. Join. I want to make sure this is centered. And let's just divide this. Let's see if a divide will work. Alright, so this inside piece. Ooh, no, that's not good. Let's join those. This inside piece is going to be lighter. So like 50. Go. Squish this a little bit. That's not really doing what I want, so. I know it's a little hard to see with the circle still on here. There we go. Won't you like maybe a couple more just like right on the sides? A little bit different on either side. And then use like another circle. Widen it. This with my hand. almost there. Some things you can make quickly, and other things just take a little bit more time to get right. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Again, these are not finished, but I think they will look nice. Mixed in. Let's do a save. What do we think about that? Unicorn made it! Welcome, Unicorn! A lotus? Yes. Unicorn, how are you today? Unicorn's also a streamer on Behance. We got lots of streamers hanging out in the chat today. So, open up everybody's profile and take a look at their lovely work. And we'll want to do a similar thing with these lotus flowers that we kind of started to do here. This is kind of a shadow, but you can see it's also kind of a reflection. And so, we can use an opacity mask on this as well. But I like to just do you know, multiply to get us started. We probably need to put them in the same clipping group as these, so that we can kind of put them behind things. Back. We'll make another mask. Go in here. I'm just gonna make a nice shape. Switches to be linear gradient. Again, you're gonna get a preview up there so you can kind of see what's going on. Pull this down, this down. Some people might not like that we're mixing styles here, but I'm okay with it. Meaning that there's a little bit of stuff that's softer edged. Some things have a harder edge to them. Gradients and flat color, but group that, copy and paste. We're gonna do like a couple of variations. I might go back and like add more details onto these lotus flowers at some point. But I can just go in and replace them because they're, you know, they're vectors. We could add some additional shading and then just go through and kind of update those. You could also make them a symbol if you wanted to, and you'd be able to very easily go through and kind of update. They would update across the board, but there we go. Some little lotus flowers throughout. Stream Squad. Wonder how you did the water, Unicorn asks. Yeah, like, that was cool. If you go watch the replay, Unicorn, I believe it was about the halfway mark, but if you go watch the replay, I show you how to do that step by step. It's pretty interesting. At least I think it is interesting. Put that on a working layer. Do a hide, do a save. And things are, like I said, not exactly to scale here. We might, I don't know. I kind of like the frog being as large as it is personally, but, you know, you could just kind of adjust things. So, Umkor saying, most cleanups still have to make an 18th century planter box. Ooh. No, Umkor, not last week's. We did this on today's stream. We added the texture. So today, so far, we've added our second duck in, and the lotus flowers and the water texture here. You can kind of get an idea of how I did it just by taking a look at the outline view. If I can get a selection of it here. So but if you go back, you can get like the whole thing. Whole view of it, so. Alright, let's take a look at the duckweed. I have to think about, we might make a brush for it, depending. I want to take a look at what this duckweed kind of looks like. Okay, so it looks like little tiny, teeny tiny little flower. Almost like, not flowers, like leaves, like clover. And so we could try using a scatter brush for that and just make it really tight, the spacing, and vary the size. And I could try showing you how to do that using variations of, I don't know if that would work. We could make a scatter brush that has a couple clustered together in different values of gray or black, so that when we apply our color to it, it has a little bit of color variation. So we'll see. If that doesn't work out, we'll still have the base shape to kind of make a simpler brush, but we can try that. Because it looks like this is a pretty simple play. I think that's what we're going to try. We're going to try making a brush. A scatter brush. So these are also pretty simple shapes. And yeah, I'm going to use variations. So black is going to be, when we go to change the color, black is going to be like 100% of our swatch color, whatever color we've got applied to the brush. And lighter grays are going to be, I lost my train of thought, like lighter, yeah, like lighter, depending on if we choose hue shift or, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on what the other ones are. They each do different things, so one will just keep one will keep the values and saturation, one will just keep the, I don't know, I have to open up the, brushes panel to remember, even I forget things sometimes. Sort of like Nick will be familiar, like a guitar pick shape. And I'm gonna make the outside edge of these a little bit lighter. So we'll go very little change. Okay. Paste. And this is gonna be like a 3 section type deal. Oop, wrong way. So they're gonna kind of look like this. I don't mind that they're a little bit off placed. Let's move this out of here so it's not interfering. So do one cluster like that, and maybe we'll do a cluster. We'll see how this works with our brush. I just want to add a little bit of variation in color if we can. Let's try this as a scatter brush. I'm just going to add some generic values. So these values here, you can kind of get an idea of how they work. There's like a baseline, which is where the path is. Whether that's vertical or horizontal, it doesn't really matter. But on either side of those, you're changing the values. So on this side, it's showing that the bottom half or that side is what you're changing. And then on the opposite side, the other side. So it kind of helps you to understand what's going on when you're changing these numbers. And generally speaking, I like to have things set to random. If you have a pressure sensitive tablet, you can actually set it to be, vary the width and things like that, the size, the scatter, etc., depending on the brush pressure. So if you've ever drawn like with a variable width brush with a pressure sensitive tablet, you'll know that like the width changes depending on how hard or soft you're pressing on that pressure sensitive tablet, like a Wacom or a Wacom tablet. I know people pronounce those differently, so. This is gonna be a fly? Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it's gonna be duckweed. So we're trying to make the, you know what we need to do? Actually, that's a good point. there's one thing we need to do before. And I'm gonna make a copy and paste. I think we need to put these in first before we do that. So I'm just gonna put them down so they match the general perspective of mine. And they're quite large right now, so we can actually scale them down a bit more so we don't have to do such extreme size changes. And the reason I'm using the black and white, and you'll see this in a minute, or the grayscale, is because how I'm gonna set up the colorization mode, which I talked a little bit about. So let's just go ahead and set these to be random. You have the rotation set to be random. And down here, if you click on this little light bulb, it's actually going to show you what's changing. So you can see here, tints is going to change just the, it's going to keep the values of the original, but just change the color to a different tint of that. Tints and shades is going to keep the value and saturation, so it's gonna it's gonna change the color more like overall based on the original versus just using tints. And this is more applicable if you're using like colors for your brush. And then hue shift, you can see down here how it's shifting to like a complementary color inside. So it's keeping like the base color. And you shift this to green, it's going to shift that purple to, you know, kind of match along the color wheel. You know, depending on where these two original colors are located, it's kind of like spinning it around. Alright, so we're going to pick, I think I'm just going to pick this. I might change my mind on that. And then we're going to choose for size. I'm going to let this go all the way down to like quite small, up to, let's see, 100 might be too large. And then we're going to change the spacing. I'm probably going to keep it at 100. And just bring it up to like 200. I'm just kind of guessing at the values that I want right now. And gonna see how it looks when I make the brush. So I can always go back in and edit those. Ooh. My keyboard just died. Oh no, there we go. Okay. I'll just draw. I'm just gonna draw like a path. So let's see. I'm gonna change it to be our. The lime green might not show up very well, but we'll start there. I'm gonna apply that brush and see how it looks. Okay, so we don't want rotation. I should have thought about that. Okay. Apply strokes. And the spacing and stuff needs to definitely come down quite significantly. So we're gonna go in here. And I am gonna change it to hue shift. I might need to pick a darker color for the, yeah, so you can see it's changing them over, not a lot. I was hoping for more. Oh well. We can always make it more light. We can edit that brush after the fact. Let's bring this down. Let's actually go for the spacing. That's weird. There we go. It's like a weird bug for a minute.
Tout homme qui a le courage de vendre son âme par amour, le pouvoir de changer le monde.
There we go. This is gonna take some work. You know, I'm not sure that it's worth doing the double because the color change isn't working. So I'm actually gonna make another scatter brush, only this one. I'm actually going to make it so that the ends are much lighter. Make a new scatter brush. I'm actually going to give it a little bit of motion, maybe just like -2. And 2. Scatter. Try this brush. Probably should have kept my path. That's okay, that's getting there. The tricky part is that duckweed has a tendency to kind of like take over, and I don't want it to be so in your face. Beliefs scatter brushes work with? No. So I might need to think about this. I wonder if we just kind of have it be maybe in the corners in some places instead of being like all the way around. You know what I mean? We're like framing our little pond. It doesn't feel so overrun. Do a couple layers here. Maybe we'll do some darker greens to give it a little bit more depth. Working. They really are like bright green. I mostly like duckweed. So I'm gonna stick with it for now. And then once we get to these outside pieces, you might want to add a couple like outliers. add some transparency. That might work. Actually. Pull this out a little bit. Sometimes I like to click on the brush a couple of times. It gives you variations until I find something I like. You might see how this looks if I cut it here. And do... go, and then I'll actually go over top with this one and just add a little bit where it kind of like breaks up on the edge. Yeah, this is how I kind of personally like to mess with brushes. Sometimes if you get a cluster that's too close together, you can kind of like pull them apart by adding another point. And these are really determined to stay together. There we go. Now I can select all of this. Everything is grouped, so I can very easily just kind of deselect it all, the stuff that I don't want to have selected. Nope. Actually, it's probably easier to do this. Okay. Pull this up. Group all of this. There we go. Now there's like some duckweed along the side there. We'll put that behind our umbrella there. Might want to adjust the placement a little bit. I actually liked it better before. Yeah, I like that. Of course, that also means we need to now do the duckweed on the other side. So, let's pull this behind. Start to layer some in here. I'm actually gonna start right off the bat by making this. We'll do another layer. Change my mind. Let's add something here, and we'll make this 50. Pull this back and I'll add a little bit. This one, where are you? I did 75 or something like that for the next one. Add a few, add another one on top that's gonna be the lighter ones. I think like 50. Oh, I made an even smaller, 25? And then I think I did 40. Some really small, light ones on top. Here. Oh, too big. I don't like that. Put this down. It's a little strong on the side. Ooh, let's pull it back. Oh, or actually, let's extend this a little bit. Probably better. Some duckweed. I know Bliss had to hop out, but when she comes back, she can check out how it turned out. And I'm going to pull all this onto a working layer as well. Duckweed. Alright, so what's left? Fish. Potentially. More plants, and that's it. Oh, I had to check lotus flowers off. And some additional shading on the umbrella, additional shading on kind of everything overall. And I think we'll be done with this one. We need to get a little bit, you know, like things like having a nice hard highlight on this umbrella. Giving some dimension to each of these kind of bellows. What? Is it the lighting? Yeah, it gets bright at the end of the day. Here, I'll pull it back. I have to manage the... I have a window over here, so I have to manage the light. Which is different than my previous setup. Anyways... So this is where we're gonna leave it for today because we're right at about 6 o'clock. I need to go through, like I said, add some dimension to the umbrella, add that like plastic shine on the handle. Need to add shading to the ducks, which I might change my mind about, and add some darker purples in over top. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do there yet, but and some shading on the lotus flowers because they look a little bit sad. I mean, they look nice, but they don't have great shading on them at that size. They need a little bit more darks to separate out those petals. Some maybe some additional shadows under the water. I'm not sure. We're gonna see how it ends up, but that's gonna be it for today. We ended up going a little bit farther in, adding more stuff than I anticipated, but that always happens when the chat participates, which I'm not mad about. I appreciate you, chat. Oh, what happened to our highlight there? Not sure. We can fix that really quickly, though. Just bring that up again. There we go. And we'll probably end up working on this next week. We'll see. I'm not sure how I feel. The frog, I like the frog. I like the size of the frog because you can see all the details on the frog, but it feels really big. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Oh, the other thing we need to add is a little bit of a shadow right along the edge here. To visually kind of separate. There would be a little bit of cast shadow from this umbrella. Even though it wouldn't be a very strong shadow, because you can see our light is coming kind of like from the top left here, so based on our cast shadow, and kind of based on our highlight up here, so I have to think about how I'm going to do that. I might have to change the shading on the umbrella. I might have to actually make this dark, make this light. We'll see. We'll see. That'll be next time. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I don't know if I will be streaming on Adobe Live this Wednesday or if it will be the Wednesday after. But I do have to end it at 6 today because I have to get back to work. I have to prep all my stuff for that. So, yeah, I'll be back streaming. I stream on the weekends 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, if you follow me here on Behance or on social, you can see when I'm gonna go live. I post my schedule every week there. I know that, like, notifications are a bit hit or miss with the Behance app and the Behance in your browser, desktop notifications and stuff. So if you just follow me on social, you'll know, and my schedule never really changes. So if you follow me there and you see my schedule for the week, you will know when I'm going to be live, in case you miss that notification. But I will not be live tomorrow. I have a lot of stuff to prep, like I said, and I have a lot of just work kind of in general, which is a good thing, and a bad thing. But let me know how you liked the new audio setup. I will listen back and see if I want to make any changes. Like I said, we've got a new mic. Hopefully it sounded really nice. But go check out all the other streamers. I don't know if Umacorn's going to be streaming tomorrow. I know that a lot of people who are in the chat stream on the weekends. I think Melissa, you occasionally stream on the weekends. Umacorn does. Odari does. And I don't know if we had anybody else. Umacorn, Odari. Oh, Bliss. Bliss occasionally streams. I know Bliss has been really busy lately, so Bliss hasn't been streaming on Behance lately, but for good reasons. I know Bliss is trying to get back, though, so yes, Umacorn is streaming tomorrow, 4 p.m. CET, so be sure to check that out. That's early in the morning for me, so be sure to check out all of I've got links to the moderators stuff in the description, so if you want to check out Corey, Nick, Corey's got Crock of Time, a food and a fermentation community and there's a website and a Discord. We actually were working on stickers for that I have to get back to finishing. Nick's got Fragnum Opus. Nick does music stuff, and Bliss and Odario streamers here on Behance. I've also got links to Yoann Turpin's work if you like the jams in the background. I do a lot of album art and stuff for Yoann Turpin, so Yoann lets me stream his music in the background. Yoann also wrote and produced the intros and outros, seasonal and otherwise, for my stream, so if you like that music, go check out the rest of Yoann's stuff, because you'll probably like it. And yes, thank you, Corey, for sharing all the links. I've got a subscription here on Behance, I've got, social, got all the things. And if you want to follow along with this prompt, I've got the link to that Instagram account in the description as well. And you can find all my live streams here on Behance in the live streaming tab on my profile. I think that's everything I have to tell you. Okay. What was that? I just heard something make a notification noise, and I don't know what it is. Okay. Anyways, that's gonna be it for now. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I'm not gonna see you until next week. I will keep you posted on whether or not I'm gonna be on Adobe Live. We will be working in Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Express when I go live on Adobe Live, and I'll be a guest for the first time in, like I said, 4 years. So I'll be in the guest seat, in the hot seat. I don't know who's hosting me yet, though, so it'll be a surprise. All right, I'm gonna go. I hope you have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.